Good morning and welcome back to Concerning San Diego. San Diego County Crime Stoppers is a nonprofit charitable organization that has been helping San Diego County law enforcement solve crime since 1984. And in that time, they have helped to solve 3,800 felony crimes, including 99 homicides. And you can help Crime Stoppers make a difference by becoming a member or attending an event. Crime Stoppers is solely supported by San Diegans who envision a safer community for our families and neighbors. And here today to talk about the San Diego County Crime Stoppers Light the Night Against Crime event is Don Braun, the Executive Director for San Diego Crime Stoppers. Welcome to the show, Don.
Hi, good morning, Marlo. Appreciate it very much. Nice to be here. Thanks for having us.
Well, can you tell us exactly how did Crime Stoppers come to be?
Well, Crime Stoppers is an international program. It came to be back in the early 1980s in San Diego. So, in other words, it's been around for 31 years. It really started with a small group of folks that actually envisioned, this was kind of during the era of Bill Colliner, for the longtime San Diegans that remember Bill as our chief. And it was an effort for what they called community policing. And it was a thought that, well, what can the community do to help law enforcement solve crime? And as a result of that, what came from that was this small group of folks thought, well, maybe if we had an anonymous tip line and we offered rewards for people who would provide information to help law enforcement, that might be one way of the community doing its part to help law enforcement, and at the same time remain anonymous and not be concerned about retaliation and those types of things.
Oh, okay. So I understand that when people call in to leave a tip, they leave it anonymously, right?
That's absolutely correct. Since the early 1980s, we've actually helped solve over 5,700 crimes throughout San Diego County. So it's not just the city of San Diego, but it's all of the cities and unincorporated areas of the county. And we work with all of the law enforcement agencies, including federal law enforcement agencies like the FBI and ATF and others. So it doesn't really matter. Whatever tip comes in, we assess those tips and get those to the appropriate agencies for follow-up investigation.
Okay. And I understand also that when you leave an anonymous tip, you're given a number, and if your tip leads to the arrest of the person that's wanted in connection with a crime, that person may be eligible for some type of reward. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct. A lot of longtime San Diegans have seen and heard of Crime Stoppers on either the news or the radio or the newspaper, and we have a long-established representation, if you will, here in San Diego. And that's absolutely correct. When someone calls, now we've advanced quite a bit. We have a system in place for anonymous tips that can come through text messaging and through the internet, as well as our old tip line, the 1-888-580-8477. And when they call in, they simply can provide the call taker the basic information. They're never asked for their name or any identifying information. And at the conclusion of that discussion, if you will, they're provided a secret code or a secret number, and they're instructed on how to call back and follow up with us in order to determine whether their tip actually was validated and, in fact, an arrest was made. And if that does occur, then we have a system in place to make sure that they're rewarded in cash and, again, not identified.
Now, Crime Stoppers run solely on donations then to keep this program running. Is that right?
You know, and Marlo, that's absolutely correct. And a lot of folks, actually, that we've talked to over the years think that we receive government funding or we get funding from the police department or other things like that. And that's not the case. We're a 501c3. We're a nonprofit. We are just like any other nonprofit. We're always seeking grants, and we're seeking public support. And one way that we do that is through fundraising events like Light the Night Against Crime.
Okay, so tell us all about this year's Light the Night for Crime event.
Well, this year is our 29th year. It is a nighttime event. It is a 5K run walk, and it is what's called a sanctioned event. So for your listeners who are runners, it is sanctioned and it is timed accordingly. but it's really a family event. It's really an opportunity for folks to come out with their kids and their family. This year's event is on Saturday, October 24th, and the event begins around 5 p.m., and we're in Balboa Park, on the south side of Balboa Park, and I can certainly provide more details on our website. But the event is a fundraiser. Folks can come out and run through Balboa Park at night. At the conclusion of the run, we have a large expo area with all sorts of family-friendly activities. And if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about a few of them that we have.
Oh, absolutely. Please, go right ahead.
So in the expo area, we'll have a kids zone for kids all set up with a pumpkin patch, as well as a haunted bus and a number of other kid-type friendly activities. There is also a kids run, so if you have children, you can sign your children up for the run, and they will, at the conclusion of the run, they each get a really cool ribbon with a little cops and robbers theme on it, as well as some little goodies that we hand out. We also have a lot of law enforcement demonstrations and displays, which are interactive and kids and families can get involved in. There'll be food trucks for food and live music. And we also have a costume contest for folks that, as you know, October 24th is real close to Halloween. Mm-hmm. Many of the runners who come out in costume. There are some really crazy and funny and just creative costumes that come out. We have a contest, and we have awards for that as well. And, of course, like any other 5K run, folks that are overall winners for first, second, and third by age group as well will also receive a nice ribbon and medal with our logo and our theme that we have this year.
Okay. And so do you need to register in order to be part of the event?
You do. And what I would like to ask most of your listeners to go to lightthenight.againstcrime.com, and it's just spelled out that way, lightthenight.againstcrime, altogether, .com. Or they can also go to our website, which is sdcrimestoppers.org, and there's a link over to sign up and provide additional information in regards to the run and the exact location and where to park and those types of things.
Okay, so they can go to lightthenight.againstcrime.org for more information, or they can go to the Crime Stoppers website at sdcrimestoppers.org. Is that right?
That's right, and actually it's lightthenight.againstcrime.com, but if they put the .org, it'll still get them there.
Okay, .com for that one. Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, anything else we should know about Crime Stoppers that you'd like to tell us?
I'd just like to remind your listeners that as the executive director, but also more importantly, just as importantly, I'm a retired law enforcement officer after 30-plus years in the San Diego County area. I can't tell you how valuable the tips are that we receive as law enforcement investigators. We're very proud that Crime Stoppers has helped solve nearly 140 homicides since 1984. And as I mentioned earlier, over 5,700 crimes have been solved. And these tips are extremely valuable. It brings closure to families and loved ones who have lost somebody as a result of crime or someone who has been seriously injured. And I feel that the program is extremely valuable and extremely useful to all the communities in San Diego. So any support that your listeners can provide, even if they're not runners or they're not walkers, and they'd like to donate to Crime Stoppers, to please go to our website at sdcrimestoppers.org and have a look, and any help is deeply appreciated.
Absolutely. It's sdcrimestoppers.org, and the tip line number, if you have a tip on any of the individuals that are posted on that website, is 1-888-580-8477. That's 1-888-580-8477. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Okay, Don, anything else we should know, or is that about it?
No, that's about it, and I really appreciate the opportunity to reach out to your listeners.
Absolutely. Okay, Don Braun, the Executive Director with San Diego Crime Stoppers, thank you so much for all that great information today.
Thanks very much for having me.
More concerning San Diego next.